Welcome to Jikook Are Dating. Hope you're all doing well, Jikook fans. Today I bring you a video full of happiness, tenderness, and surprises because yes, our Jikook is back. And when I say back, I don't mean they're causing trouble, but they're back to share the Jikook interactions we've all been missing with the public. And here, as I always say, it's all about patience. Waiting calmly because sooner or later they will. Bring back the moments we love. At the end of Are You Sure? And before discussing the highlights of the trip and their behavior, which included shouting, intimacy, and flirting, one of the questions asked of them was, "What does this trip mean to you?" Jungkook answered first, "This is my adjustment period. I felt very uncomfortable with the camera, but over time I got used to it. I got used to talking and eating with them. This journey has really helped me with that, and I'm very grateful." I got to see many beautiful sights during this journey. It was a meaningful, beneficial, and enjoyable journey. What about you, Jimin? Then Jimin replied, "As for me, I feel happy. I had forgotten what it felt like to be relaxed and free in life. This trip allowed me to feel emotions again, and that immediately made me feel grateful. This trip was very enjoyable. The food was delicious, and I still feel happy because of this experience." Jimin and Jungkook showed how much they loved the process of filming this show. The haters, especially some Taekookers, constantly complained and embarrassed themselves by trying to claim that their intention was to save Jungkook. However, Jungkook himself clearly said that the trip was meaningful, helpful, and fun, silencing those who thought he suffered throughout the experience, when it was clear that as long as Jimin was by his side, he was happy. I know everyone wants to talk about the famous Jikook moment in bed because it was one of those moments that made your head spin and your heart race. It all started in a seemingly ordinary way when Jungkook and Jimin were on their way to do an activity, and Jimin suddenly mentioned that he had stayed up late and was tired. And the best part is that he immediately pointed to Jungkook as the cause. I mean, he didn't just say, "I didn't sleep well," and leave it at that. He mentioned his name directly. Jungkook, as if he didn't understand anything, even though he clearly understood everything, asked why it was his fault, and that's when Jimin explained that he had been peacefully falling asleep when Jungkook woke him up. Right then, the show flashed back as if to say, "Okay, now the juicy gossip begins." In that memory, we see a half-asleep Jimin cursing softly, clearly annoyed but also very comfortable with each other, and we return to the moment when Jungkook asks if he's still awake. Jimin replies with something like, "Wait until tomorrow, I'll get back at you," meaning total trust, no filters, no formalities. Then Jimin adds another detail that makes it all feel even more real. When he comes back from the bathroom, Jungkook is already snoring, as if nothing happened. And it feels so everyday, so typical of roommates, so we know each other, that it's impossible not to feel the closeness between them. But what really shocked the entire fandom was what happened that night. Jungkook teased Jimin while hugging him from behind or from the side, while Jimin calmly played with his phone. Jimin turned off his phone, and that's where it all began. Because at first glance, the image was barely clear. Nighttime, the room lights off, only the camera left behind by the production team, no brightness settings, no real-time editing. Just the two of them, in their space, in their bubble. Even so, from the little that can be seen, we can clearly see how Jungkook curls up closer, how he approaches Jimin without hesitation, how he hugs him from behind first, pressing himself against him in such an intimate and natural way that it makes you think, there is no personal space here. Then comes the part that leaves many of us speechless, because this isn't just a brief hug. It's like Jungkook is getting closer, seeking closeness, touch, warmth. It's hard to describe in words, but this is the kind of closeness that isn't forced, that just flows naturally. Of course, the fans did their part and managed to brighten the video a little so that what happened that night could be seen more clearly. And even though not everything is completely clear, because it's still dark, still nighttime, still private, What's very clear is the level of chemistry and connection between them. The way Jungkook seeks out Jimin, the natural way Jimin accepts it. He lets it happen, doesn't move, doesn't feel uncomfortable. Everything feels so comfortable, so this is normal between us. And as a closing, it seems like Jungkook says something and Jimin responds, but then the production decided to add bird sounds, as if to say, "You won't hear this." And honestly, that just makes the moment even more intense because it makes us imagine, process, rewatch the clip over and over. Not because we want to overanalyze, but because the energy there is real. This is one of those moments that we will probably continue to talk about for a very long time because it is neither exaggerated nor contrived. It is a small, intimate, everyday moment that shows such a deep closeness that not everyone can immediately process it. The chemistry is there, the connection is there, the trust is there, and even though we can't see every detail, what is conveyed is more than enough to leave us speechless. This is what Jikook is all about. They don't need to do anything big to make it obvious. Sometimes all it takes is one night, a camera left on, a silent embrace, and that's enough. Now, there's another key moment, one that seems like a simple game, but ends up saying much more than meets the eye. The activity itself is a pretty funny competition. Jungkook and Jimin have to find objects hidden by the other. It all starts off lighthearted, with laughter, jokes, and the relaxed atmosphere they always have when they're together. But what's interesting isn't the game itself, but how everything develops between them. Because suddenly, almost without warning, they start looking at each other differently, getting closer, touching each other very naturally. They lift their clothes, searching as if the object is really hidden on each other's bodies, and everything flows so spontaneously that it's impossible not to notice. There was no awkwardness, no strange nervousness, no invisible boundaries that usually exist even between very close friends. Between them, those boundaries simply didn't exist. And that's when many people stared at the screen as if to say, "Is this really happening?" Because Jungkook actually placed his hand on Jimin with a confidence and certainty that couldn't be faked. It wasn't excessive or forced. It was more like the naturalness that only exists when you know someone very well and know that there are no problems, no embarrassment, that everything is fine. It's a gesture that, honestly, isn't even common among close friends. The funny thing is, it's all wrapped up in laughter, jokes, in the playful atmosphere that characterizes them. It doesn't feel tense or uncomfortable. On the contrary, it feels light, fun, almost like an everyday thing for them. And that's what stands out the most. For Jungkook and Jimin, this doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary. They do it as if it's the most natural thing in the world, as if there were no cameras, no audience.